They told us never to play near the old mango tree. They never raised their voices when they said it. No shouts, no scolding, just a glance toward the edge of the village where the soil darkens and the wind forgets to blow. Their voices would trail off, eyes drifting to the tree that stood taller than any house, its crown blotting out the sun like a bruise in the sky. "Not that tree," they'd whisper. "Don't go there." It wasn't like the other mango trees that gave sweet fruit in summer. This one grew crooked, its trunk thick with bulges like trapped breath, its roots breaking through the soil like something buried too long and too deep. There were no birds on its branches, no ants on its bark, no fallen fruit beneath it, only silence. And silence in the provinces isn't peaceful. It's a warning. We'd hear things, not always when we were near, sometimes just as we were falling asleep. A woman humming where no one stood, leaves rustling when the wind wasn't blowing, the smell of mango blossoms in December. Our parents never explained it, only said that bad things happened to curious children. And the mango tree was the kind of place that remembered who trespassed. We were 10, maybe 11, that dangerous age when fear feels like a challenge, and legends sound like invitations. There were 4 of us that summer: me, Enzo, Ia, and Leah. And Leah was the first to touch the tree, the first to climb it, the first to hear her name whispered back from the branches, by a mouth that wasn't hers. What happened next changed everything. Our village, our lives, the way we looked at shadows. Because after that summer, the mango tree didn't sleep anymore. And it hasn't slept since. It started with a dare. We were crouched beside Ia's sari-sari store, passing a bag of chichirya back and forth, letting the heat lull us into boredom. That's when Enzo spoke. "They say she sleeps during the day," he whispered, picking at a stubborn thread on his shorts. "Who?" Ia asked, half distracted. "The diwata, the one in the mango tree." "Could be a capre," Ia muttered. "Capre likes big trees." "No, it's a diwata," Enzo said. "A lady." I remember the chill in his voice. Not fear exactly, just the kind of tone that knew it shouldn't speak too loudly. Lola told me once, when she thought I was asleep, "She's bound to that tree, tied by blood, tied by something she did." But I didn't say that out loud. Instead, Leah snorted. "She's just a story. Watch, I'll climb it." And the moment she said it, we all felt it, like a match being struck in the dark. The next day, we went. It was hot, still, the kind of stillness that made your skin prickle. Even the dogs didn't bark. We followed the cracked path past the rice fields, past the rusted water pump, past the scarecrow with no arms. The tree came into view like something waiting. It didn't sway, its leaves didn't move. It was as if the wind had made a pact to avoid it. Leah didn't hesitate. She marched right up, placed her hand on the bark, and smiled. "See? Nothing." She climbed. Her feet found the grooves in the bark like steps carved just for her. One branch, then another. That's when the wind died completely. No rustle, no bird, no breath. Leah looked down at us. Her face had gone pale. Her mouth opened, but no sound came. Then she screamed. It was not a child's scream. It was deeper, wider, as if something older was screaming through her. She thrashed as if caught in something we couldn't see. Her limbs jerked, her nails dug into her own arms. And something screamed back. We ran. They brought Leah home that night, quiet, smiling. Too quiet. She didn't speak again. Not that night, not the day after, not ever. Her parents lit candles, called a priest, sprinkled salt, but Leah just sat. Her eyes didn't blink enough. Her skin lost its color. Her lips cracked like old bark. On the 7th night, she vanished. There were no broken locks, no signs of struggle, only an empty bed, and the scent of mango blossoms hanging thick in the air. The next morning, there was a basket of mangoes beneath the tree, and a red thread tied to the lowest branch, fluttering gently, even though the air had not moved. Years passed. We didn't talk about it. Enzo moved to Manila, Iya got married, I stayed, the tree remained. Sometimes children whispered, dared each other. No one climbed. Until the man from the city came. He arrived in a white SUV with tinted windows, wearing sunglasses and polished shoes that didn't belong on our dirt roads. He said his name was Miguel and he worked for a development firm in Manila. He told us about roads and progress and how the forest had to make way for expansion. He smiled often, too often. At first, no one said anything, but the old people watched him with hard eyes. One even spat on the ground when he passed. A day after he surveyed the land, strange things began to happen. Miguel complained that someone was watching him at night. He said he kept waking up to the scent of flowers, sweet and thick like overripe mangoes. And once, just before dawn, he swore he saw a girl standing outside his window. Long black hair, pale skin, eyes too wide, too still. He described her to the barangay captain. She looked young, he said, maybe 12 or 13, just staring, didn't blink, didn't move. The captain's face turned gray. "That's Leah," he muttered. "You saw Leah." The old people started leaving eggs and salt outside his boarding house. One even left a candle in a coconut husk with his name scratched into the wax. Another whispered, "The Diwatas marked him. She doesn't like what he's doing." But Miguel just laughed. "It's all superstition," he said, waving off the warnings. "Just folklore. I've worked in tougher provinces than this." He returned to the clearing 2 more times, marked the tree again, took photos. Each time he returned looking a little more tired, a little more pale. And each night the smell of mango blossoms followed him like a shadow he couldn't shake. Until the 3rd night, they found him curled at the base of the tree, smiling. His skin was waxy, pale, his mouth stuffed with mango blossoms, and a red thread looped around his throat, tight as a noose. But the horror didn't end there. That night, all the streetlights on his side of the village burst at once. Dogs barked at nothing, then whimpered and hid under houses. The neighbors heard footsteps on their roofs. One swore they saw muddy handprints on the ceiling, trailing in circles, as if someone or something had been crawling above them. The next day, the barangay captain found Miguel's journal, left open on his desk. The last entry was scribbled hastily. "She was at the foot of my bed," it read. "Hair dripping wet. Her hands were backwards. She smiled at me. I couldn't move." They said the page smelled like blossoms and rot. A child who wandered too close to the tree afterward came back crying, said he heard a man calling for help from inside the trunk, whispering, pleading, begging in a voice that sounded like it had no breath left. That was when the village decided. Now there's a bamboo fence around it, just enough to warn. People leave rice cakes, rosaries, candles. We don't say her name. But we remember. Because the mango tree doesn't sleep anymore. And she remembers the children who didn't listen. Some nights, if the wind dies completely, and you find yourself walking near the edge of the village, you might hear her humming again. A slow tune with no melody, only breath and something wet dragging across the roots. If you smell mango blossoms out of season, run. Because she's still there, not sleeping, not forgiving. And if you hear your name being called from the branches, don't answer.